Paris, the capital city of France, and a city that over 2 million people call home. The city boasts dozens of famous tourist attractions that people from around the world, especially couples, flock to. But the City of Love has a darker history. Here are 5 creepy haunted places in Paris. By the way, I won't be covering the Paris catacombs here because I already talked about them in a video on haunted cemeteries I did a couple of years ago. I will leave a link to that up in the cards and down in the description if you want to check it out. Now, on to the video. This psychiatric hospital opened in the suburban city of Neuilly all the way back in 1900. The facilities kept expanding, opening up their first official Paris site in 1988. The hospital later closed but merged with 2 others in 2019. It exists today as GHU Paris, specializing in mental health. Visitors to the hospital's abandoned facilities will sometimes report strange goings-on. Stories include feelings of unease, unusual noises, and cold spots. Many people report seeing apparitions or feeling a presence with them. Ghost patients are said to wander the halls, and screams and laughter echo through otherwise abandoned buildings. At first glance, Parc Montsouris seems like your typical park. It has a playground, basketball courts, and ping pong tables, along with some other amenities like restaurants and rides. But this little piece of nature, which is especially popular with university students, has some dark rumors attached. Legend has it that the park was the site where the first guillotine was tested. Visitors have reported sightings of headless ghosts, presumably those killed by the execution device in its early days. There have also reportedly been sightings of Isard de Montsouris, who the park was named after, and who is said to be killed by bandits there. However, these stories are likely just that, stories. There's no evidence that the guillotine was ever tested in the park. The park's official website doesn't mention Isard de Montsouris at all, and says the origins of the name Montsouris are unclear. However, the park is open 7 days a week, so pay them a visit and see for yourself. Perhaps one of Paris's most famous tourist attractions, the Eiffel Tower began construction all the way back in 1887. Originally meant to last just 20 years, the tower still stands today at over 1,000 feet and boasts 7 million visitors a year. But, as with many things that old, there are some ghost stories attached. One ghost thought to haunt the tower is that of a woman who was supposedly pushed to her death by her boyfriend after she rejected his marriage proposal. Another version of the story says she didn't reject him, but was so shocked at the proposal that she backed up, slipped, and fell. Whatever the case, she's said to haunt the tower to this day. A ghostly woman wearing clothes from the 1920s, when the story is thought to have taken place, has appeared to visitors, laughing and screaming. She's said to stand along the railing before vanishing. Another prominent ghost story is that of Francois Eiffel, apprentice of the tower's creator, Gustave Eiffel. In life, Francois was said to ring a bell on the tower to signify his commitment to his fiancée. Sadly, though, he was hit by a carriage and killed before the wedding could take place. He is said to still ring the bell at night, a declaration of his love even in death. However, there's no evidence, at least not any readily available online, that Francois Eiffel even existed. Other ghost stories include that of a white lady who drifts around the upper parts of the tower, and a ghost in the tower's hidden bunker who shouts on demand for whatever reason. The tower is open to the public most days, so pay them a visit and see if you can spot any spirits yourself. This famous cathedral started construction all the way back in the late 1100s, with work on it continuing for the next century. And rumors of supernatural influence started pretty quickly. As the first story goes, The cathedral's main doors were so beautiful, they started rumors that the architect, a metalworker known as Biscornet, had made a pact with the devil in exchange for his handiwork. The devil helped him create these intricate doors, then took his soul. The doors refused to open until they were christened with holy water. The design on the doors that resembles the number 666 likely only fueled the stories. Biscornet's ghost has also been spotted sitting in front of his cursed doors. The cathedral is also said to be home to the actual crown of thorns worn by Jesus at his crucifixion. The crown was acquired by King Louis IX of France all the way back in 1239. It was moved to the Louvre after a fire destroyed a large portion of the cathedral in 2019, and it was taken back to Notre-Dame when it reopened in 2024. Every 70 years, when Good Friday and the Feast of the Annunciation fall on the same day, the crown is said to drip with the actual blood of Christ. Other supernatural stories include a phantom bell ringer who appears on Christmas, 7 decapitated men looking for their heads near the grounds, ghosts of people buried in the crypts, and the ghost of suicide victims walking among the towers. I'm actually filming this on Christmas Eve, so maybe tomorrow morning I should check and see if this bell ringer made his annual appearance. We'll see. The city's largest cemetery is over 100 acres and contains more than 70,000 burial plots, though estimates of the number of people buried there go as high as 1 million. It was established in 1804, but its oldest remains are thought to be over 1,000 years old. With so many bodies spanning so many centuries, it's no surprise that some ghost stories have cropped up. One reported ghost is that of Adolphe Thiers, a statesman, journalist, and historian who served as president of France from 1871 to 1873. People feel their clothes being tugged on as they walk by his mausoleum, so maybe he's just a playful ghost. Another is that of French novelist Marcel Proust, who died in 1922. Proust was reportedly gay, though most sources say he only came out to his circle of friends and never acknowledged it publicly. One of his rumored lovers was a composer named Ronaldo Hahn, who is also buried at Père Lachaise. According to the stories, the two men rise from their graves at night, looking for each other. Another version of the story says Proust's ghost is looking for a different lover who is buried in another cemetery. One more modern musician buried in the cemetery is Jim Morrison, former lead singer of The Doors. In 1997, rock historian Brett Meisner took a photo at Morrison's grave. At first, he thought it was just a normal photo, but after re-examining it in 2002, he noticed something strange. An apparition was in the background. An apparition that looked eerily similar to one of Morrison's famous publicity shots. Was this some sort of photo editing trick? Or is the ghost of Jim Morrison still hanging around? But perhaps the most well-known legend associated with Père Lachaise is that of Russian Baroness Elizabeth Stroganoff. As the story goes, the Baroness didn't want to be alone in her grave and decided to bequeath her fortune to any man who stayed in her tomb for 365 days. Many men tried, but all of them failed. Stroganoff was said to be buried in a glass coffin, the walls of her tomb covered in mirrors. She allegedly left her coffin to roam around the tomb, and the men who stayed there reported a vampire-like energy draining their life force. The story of Baroness Stroganoff is likely untrue, or at least highly exaggerated, evolving as a result of rumors getting out of control. But that doesn't stop the stories, even today. Visitors report feelings of uneasiness around her tomb or a strong urge to leave. And her ghost is still said to roam the cemetery, looking for the next man to take her up on her challenge. So those are all the haunted places in Paris I have for you today. I did my best with the French pronunciations, so I hope I didn't butcher anything too badly. Let me know in the comments if you've been to any of these places and experienced anything you believe was supernatural. Thanks for watching, and have a creepy day.